Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Switch On Season 2. And it's an honor for us today to have Miss Ngoc, who is a wonderful woman with over 2 decades of experience in event management and also community building within the Asian Australian community here. So, hi, Ting Ngoc.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us today. Can you tell the audience and also us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Well, I was born in Melbourne, so the first of my family to be born overseas, so a lot of pressure. But so a bit of a journey. I started off with studying in healthcare, so I was in radiology, more in breast imaging. So I think I made my parents happy in that bit. But I've always been a creative, so I loved creating things, whether it's like painting or art. But what I found what I really loved doing was events, so event planning. So I started at a young age, and then that certainly grew to community building later on, which without really me realizing it, sort of just became something I was passionate about.
Awesome.
But yeah, I've did a couple of little businesses in between. The last decade, had a dessert business with mum, and did a couple of things in food as well. So yeah, a bit of everything.
Awesome. What kind of desserts did you do?
So we do catering. So we're still going actually. So it's been 13 years. So we do event catering. So it could be wedding cakes. It could be for your business. So do a bit of our logos on your cupcakes or donuts or anything.
Cute.
Yeah, but that's more for mum, so she can be creative herself and be part of something successful. So we've had a good run. So yeah, very proud of that.
Oh, great. That's such a great side hustle.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you started in healthcare and then you changed into event management and more community building. So can you share a bit about the beginning of your journey? What made you decided to change, and then when did you do that?
So I realised that I loved events since uni days. So I was part of a student club association, and we started doing a lot of uni balls and events. And that's when I realised I love just bringing everyone together. I think that's what I ultimately love doing. And I just did events throughout my life. It could be charity event, could be just a little, wine tasting for my friends and stuff. I never really took it too seriously because I thought that you can never do event planning as a business for some reason. I feel like if I can do it, surely anyone else can do it, right? For a long time, and that's what I thought. That's why I never even thought about event planning as a business or freelancing. I just did it more for fun, as a career, right? And the Asian mindset, when you're obviously, growing up, it's like you have to be doctor or accountant or lawyer. So that's why I never thought about event planning that way. But probably it was really recent, maybe just after lockdown, actually, after a lot of my friends were like, Ngoc, what are you doing? You should be, maybe you should look into event planning because we're coming out of COVID. The loneliness economy is a thing, which I can talk about later. But people are wanting to connect now in a real life. They're missing that. And, social media and stuff too, it all has a role in it. So, and they're saying people are needing events. So, not everyone can plan an event, or maybe you don't have enough staff, or you don't have enough talent or skill or budget, money, whatever. And so they are looking for people like you to who know how to run events and love doing it. So I've taken that on board, and now I've started to freelance my event skills. I'm part of a small business as well. We're trying to grow it as well. So so that's what I'm focusing more on now.
Oh, awesome. So when did you start pivoting into community building from event?
So I think so events are a great platform for people to connect. So my two loves are events and food, right? And I feel like they both connect people in a different way. And that could be also part of, it could be a food event as well. You can do so many things. But I realised that I love the feeling of bringing people together for them to connect, whether it's social, personal, could be a business. And so I accidentally fell into community building with Asian Hustle Network. That was my first community experience. So it's a huge global network of entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals. I started in the USA. And then just a little bit before lockdown, I reached out to the founders who just started the Facebook group. And I said, if you ever wanted to if you ever wanted to start something in Australia, then I'd love to help out because One, there is an Asian community here, and I'm quite connected in the more local Asian Australian community. And two, I love events, so I would love to, yes, have an event here and launch it. And so a couple of months later, we did that, and then that's how I fell into it.
Awesome. And for everyone who hasn't known, Ngoc is now a national president of Asian Hustle Network in Australia. And I just want you to can you just elaborate a little bit more on your role as a national president, and also what are the challenges and success that you have been experienced during your journey of building that network within Australia?
Yep. So I always feel like starting community is quite easy, a lot easier than nurturing one or maintaining community. I think when you build, we grew quite quickly. So within a year, we had 100,000 Facebook members.
Within a year?
Yeah. And if you can imagine, sometimes it gets so inundated with posts, and then people don't even look at it anymore. So that's the next challenge, which is a great problem to have, but then how do you deal with that, right? And then you've got so many different countries as well, because it's quite dominant, quite strong in the American the American community, that you tend to see more stories from the American side, which is great. Yeah. But I feel like we sometimes miss out, from the Australian side of things, because we're not as the population isn't as big. And so nurturing is another story. When we do events here, how do we maintain momentum? How do people keep on coming back to our events? Can we do more than just events? I think that's always going to be the next step to think about. And we're still going through that phase. So we do events, yearly events, but where to from here? We've talked about, maybe starting a VC fund to support Asian entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Do we do more intimate, more founder circles to gather more niche, people together. So there's a couple of things that we're still thinking about, but it's hard. So it's just really just getting out there and asking for feedback and what people want. I think that's the main thing about, maintaining community as well, nurturing them.
Yeah.
But for now, our biggest mission at the moment is to launch Asian Heritage Week. So it's like an API Heritage Month that they have in America. So it's like Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So every year in May, everybody knows that we come together and celebrate, that community, because it's so big. They've done so much for the country. Why aren't we celebrating them more? Because as Asians, I think we grow up just being told that we should be quiet, maybe put our head down, work hard, don't gloat, don't, celebrate every win because you look like you're, being, just too, not selfish, just
show off.
Show off, yeah, being a show off. But I think that has that sort of goes on to why we have a bamboo ceiling that everyone calls it, we can't get through certain levels of our management and everything, is because we don't show people our skills and what we're good at. So if we don't celebrate ourselves and who is and how can we even get to those higher places, right? So I think it all is it's in sync, it goes around. So I think it's great that they do it in America, but I always wanted something here. And so Asian Hustle Network, we decided to launch Asian Heritage Week in a couple of cities around the world, including Melbourne, Sydney first this year. So it's actually going to be launched start of June, which is very soon. And so we've been rushing and going out networking, get every community on board to create events so we can list them on our website. So you can create an event, anyone can, you can attend an event, and we just want people to spread the word. So that's our mission right now. It's a huge mission, but we want to do this every year. And so it'll just be a thing, and then hopefully one day it'll be national, and then one day in 5 years' time maybe, then everyone will just know automatically that it's Asian Heritage Week, and then we can just go out and start celebrating.
Oh, that's amazing. Coming back to your point of view as a national president of Asian Hustle Network, how does you say that the network fosters a lot the community and also the connection between people within the Asian community in Australia?
I think it's just bringing everyone together is the most important thing, and then just showing them that first you have to be quite transparent why you're doing it, but also give them a purpose why. But also we're just there to support everyone, right? Because it is a lot of people, whether they're starting a business or in business. So when you're in business, sometimes can be a really lonely journey. You know, you're like stuck in your own bubble.
Yeah.
And to a certain point, you can only get to a certain level, and from then on, you do need, help, mentors or other peers to sort of give you more ideas or inspiration and advice. And that's why we're there. And some people that want to start a business and have no idea where to start, and that's where we are, the community there. So you can like come to our events, meet people, connect with them. It's just very like open, very easy, no rules or anything. So that's what we start off with. And then from then on, like I said, we're trying to figure out how to keep on going and maintain those, connections with everyone. But we're just like, come to our events, like meet people, like be open-minded. Like everyone is here to help. I think that's the main thing, to give back. Or don't be afraid to ask for help as well. So that's our main thing.
Oh, that's such an amazing, like, giving people the support they need, the platform to just like raise voice if they need any help. That's really amazing to have someone like, that you're being backed behind, and you know that there's someone there for you.
Definitely.
I think that's definitely a very powerful like support and network that you having there.
There's a lot of people that have been in business for a long time too, and they're ready to give back. So I think it's perfect, like everyone's sort of in sync. They're in it for the same reasons now. So just giving back and supporting people.
Oh, that's amazing. I would say that you are one of the women representing the Asian communities here in Australia. What has been the best part of living in a multicultural city like Melbourne or even like Australia?
First thing is food. I told you I love food.
Definitely.
But I think it is amazing that we are multicultural, that we get to be exposed to different cultures. So we're a bit more, although everyone says we're in a bubble, I feel like we're more open-minded though, right? Because every other culture is here, ethnicity. So we get to learn about other cultures too, try their food, talk to people. I think it's great in that way. And we're all sort of, a lot of us are immigrants too. So we all have come in with the same respect for each other and same level of like, just in life. And so we have the same respect and gratitude as well. So I think it's beautiful to be in a city like this. I think we're all quite, it's not crazy competitive as I would say in other countries, because we're all here just to, do our best, I think, and support each other. So although there could be some communities are segregated and are in their own bubble, I think this is why we're trying to sort of help, get everyone together as well now with Asian House Network. But I think it's great. It's like, you definitely get to learn a lot more things and be more humble and have more empathy for people.
Yeah, amazing. I'm also an immigrant here, and as someone like living in a multicultural city in Melbourne, I find it very amazing to see things from different perspective, and also absolutely the food scene here is amazing. So good. As you mentioned about like not being as competitive as other countries, so Asian Hustle Network is a global kind of like network. So can you just show or like elaborate a bit on how is it different from Australian Asian Hustle Network comparing to other countries, like for example America.
Maybe I shouldn't say not competitive. I think like the hustle was just different, or the mentality, right? I think in other countries or cities, they're a little bit like it's a lot tough. Like you have to have really thick skin, and like people feel like you have to, push people around, or push people out of the way to get to certain places.
Oh, really?
Whereas I think it's a bit different here. But just talking about the communities in general, I do feel like what we do lack is the camaraderie and like the closeness here compared to American side. Because when I see their posts, they're like so like passionate, and they're like really supporting one another. Maybe it is just mentality, attitude. Even when you meet Americans, they have a very different personality. Like they're very maybe more confident, maybe more outspoken. Whereas Australia, maybe because we are a mixed lot here, and then where most of us are immigrants, like you said, or parents, we're refugees and everything. Where, like I said, maybe a little bit more quiet, like just work hard, like I said, right? Like we tend to just put our head down, just work hard, and not really just focus on ourselves. But now I think communities are growing now. Everyone's realising that we need to be there to support one another in order to grow. You can't just do everything yourself, right? So you can only succeed if you have community behind your team. So I think we're really realizing that now. So we're really trying to push it hard, spotlight people, celebrate people, get everyone together. And I think it will change. I think it's changing already, but someone needs to start it, right, for it to happen. Yeah,
the future is bright.
yeah, definitely. Okay.
Yeah. So if like the nature of people is so different, like even the culture, is the way that you hold events and then engage people also different between, let's say, Australia and America?
I haven't been to any of the American events, so I don't know. I would love to go actually because they do great conferences and events there. But I feel like it'll be quite similar. Like, you know, formats are always quite the same. You have like speakers, keynotes. You might have an exhibition with like store holders, showcasing their products. So I feel like it's probably more the same, to be honest. I don't think there'll be much difference. Maybe with the networking part of it could be different, how they network, but I haven't gone to any events. But I feel like it most likely would be quite similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And recently I've seen that you have been tasked with another mission, which is to revitalize the Melbourne's Chinatown, which is something also very exciting. And how would you say that, how is it different to like building Asian Hustle Network comparing to that new mission that you have?
The Chinatown Association, so Melbourne Chinatown Business Association, is endorsed by the Council, City of Melbourne. So we're building a community, but it's different. So we're building community of our traders, so the business owners along the street. So some of them our members, and some of them aren't, which is fine. But it's really just trying to get everyone together. You know, like I said, in business, sometimes you just focus on your own thing. You don't even know who your next door neighbour is, or you know who's running what across the street. And so, one is to try to connect everyone, but two, we're the voice between the messenger between council and the trader, right? So if there's anything wrong with something, there's feedback, then we go back to council or vice versa. So that's one of our main missions. And then the other one is just to bring people back to Chinatown, because I think it's the same all over the world. COVID had a huge impact on how Chinatown was perceived, right? So we sort of had the same impact. A lot of people didn't come to Chinatown for a long time. But things are changing, it's become more multicultural there too. It's not, you don't just go to Chinatown for dumplings anymore. There's like Korean barbecue, there's like Indonesian food, there's like hot pot, there's Thai food now. So there's like a couple of hidden bars now in our Chinatown. So I think it's amazing, and we want to showcase that now to people to come back to the city, particularly visit Chinatown, because there's one thing that not many people know. That do you know the Melbourne Chinatown is the oldest Western settlement of Chinatown,
really?
Outside of China. Yeah, we're the biggest. I mean, the oldest. And so it's things like that people don't know about, and we really want to sort of promote that again. So it becomes like more of a tourist destination now, and not just, let's go here for dumplings, like we want it to be a bit more special. So a lot of things we want to work on, but ongoing process. It takes a while to build all this again. So
Yeah. Now that you mentioned, there's one of my my favorite Korean barbecue in Chinatown.
Oh, which one?
The Bornga.
Oh, Bornga.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned, there's a lot more thing that going on Chinatown, not just like Chinese culture and also dumplings. And I think it's a big mission that your team has, and also it will be a great like multicultural hub for everyone to like. If you be in Melbourne, you can see how diverse, how multicultural Melbourne is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to achieve. So fingers crossed.
Finger crossed. And also with your experience and in event management and also like building communities, what do you have any tips or any advice on like how you can nurture a community and also engage people? Because as you mentioned, one of the challenges is to keep engaging people, keep nurture them so that they come back to the community, and they keep engaging.
So community wise first, I guess if you want to start a community, you need to ask a question like why? Like you need to with anything, you need to like have a purpose, right? So community broadly it just means like it's a group of people connecting over a shared purpose or like a physical location, right? And so not everyone would need a community. Like, you build communities in business, in a network, professionals, you build a community for a product as well that you're selling. those products sort of have a cult following, so you call that a community. You build a community internally, like as part of your office or your workplace. That's like people and culture. So there's many ways of building community, to be honest. Depends on if there is a need for it. Not all businesses need it, but you need to figure out if you really, like if it's needed, basically. And then, going from there, like obviously events is a great way to start community building. You know, you gather people around. It could be easy. You can gather someone at a co-working space, a bar. It could be really, really simple, right? It doesn't have to be a grand, fancy thing. So I think some people think it's so much work, but it's not. You just can ask. Most of the time, these big communities start off really small. You know, it could be 10 people, it could be dinner, it could be, you know, just drinks. And then I see a lot of these networks start growing because they'll love it, and then someone will bring someone else to the next meet up, and it keeps growing. So I don't think it's hard as long as you know that why you bring everyone together, right? You know, if it's purely to make money, then usually that's not the right way to go around it. You probably will only get to a certain point, but and then nurturing, like I said, you know, whether you what do you do with it? You know, do you build a membership out of it? Do you create more segmented, you know, groups? And, you know, like I said, founder circles to, you know, different things. So there's different ways, definitely. But it really depends on what you're trying to grow and build.
Yeah.
What your end goal is. Yeah.
And as a member of like also an Asian community here in Australia, I find that from a member's perspective, what keep me engaged and also continue to stay with the community is actually the possibility to connect with people, because as you say, that's the most important part of a community, like helping them to connect with others, like giving them the connection, the support behind. So I think knowing the purpose, knowing the values of the community is the most important thing.
Exactly. And it's so easy to connect to people these days, right? It's like
with
LinkedIn. Whatever, social media. So it's very easy now. So I feel like it's easier to connect and network people these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And that comes to one of our final questions. So how do you envision the growth of Asian community here in Australia, and also like the solidarity between the different Asian communities here?
I think that's why I think we started this Asian Heritage Week initiative too. So on a broader scale, bringing a lot of the Asian diaspora communities together to celebrate, you know, a week's worth of like events and you know, putting a spotlight on people, starting conversations. I think that's one thing. And then with other communities that I'm part of, I think it's just trying to focus on that community itself, and like I said, trying to give them value. I think at the end of the day, that's what they want to see, value, see what they can sort of personally grow from as well, what they can get from that community. I don't know, it's really just focus on each sort of community separately, and then I don't know, see where it goes.
It's a big question. Envision the growth of Asian community is definitely a big question.
So I think ultimately there's so much to it though. You know, it could be self-development for each person to a network, right? So it's so much, but I think if we just start, you know, just breaking down little walls, we'll eventually get there. And then this bamboo ceiling they talk about will eventually be, I think it's already getting there, you know, the more people talk about it, the more people are more confident about their skills and, you know, they're promoting themselves on social media and platforms. I think people are starting to notice it now, giving us a chance.
I really hope to see that people gaining confidence and also gaining like the power from the community, stepping out from their comfort zone to become like the bigger person. Definitely. And I think that concludes our podcast today. Thank you so much for coming and also to share your insights on like building communities, especially like within the Asian community here in Australia. And I think those are very insightful, and really looking forward to the upcoming future events that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you at the next event.
Yes.